Hey X-Trooper fans, this is Sean and we are bringing you a game of Age of Sigmar today. I've got John over here. He's going to be playing Beastmen and I've got my dwarves. We are doing 4 War Scrolls each side.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 War Scrolls.
5 War Scrolls each side. So we're going to see how it goes. We've been playtesting a little bit. I know there's a lot of debate online whether Age of Sigmar is good or not. We like it. We've been having fun.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely going to be recording a lot of battle reports for Age of Sigmar, and I guess we'll go over the armies. So I've got for my 5 War Scrolls 10 Longbeards, 10 Thunderers, a cannon, an engineer, and then back there I've got a Dwarf Lord, and John has over here
10 Gores, a Giant. Another 10 Gores, Beast Lords over here too.
Okay.
And then a Chariot.
Okay, and the Beast Lords over there. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to recap every player phase, right? Player phase.
And the thing to note is we're trying to see how the game works for campaigns and tournament play. So I'm at a 15 wound advantage this game. Even though we have the same War Scrolls, I have a Giant, which basically puts me ahead in wound count.
Right. So last game we did summoning. This game we're not. We're going to stick to 2 close combat lords.
Yeah, summoning 2 Giants in 2 turns is pretty fucking rude.
Yeah. So okay, we'll get back to you in just a bit. So we ended up just figuring we were going to do a turn recap because the first turn player phase goes pretty fast. Basically, my guys just moved up. I've got musicians for my Longbeard, so they were able to auto-run 4 inches. So they moved up 8. My Thunders are there in the middle. We got the Chariot over here starting to come up on our flank. The 2, these are Gore Herds? Yep. Gore Herds are pushing up. These guys won't have to take a Battle Shock test because he used the Inspiring Presence for his general, and then the Giant ran up there. So this
roll off for
roll off for the new round. Rolled 1 and 3. Okay, so I'm gonna choose to go first this round, and we'll get back to you. Okay, so this is the end of turn 2. As you can see, the Beastmen got a whole bunch of charges off. The Chariot here rammed into the Dwarf Lord, didn't do any wounds to me, and he did 2 wounds to him. This Gore Herd killed all 10 Thunderers with the help of the Giant. And then over here we lost 4 of the Longbeards fighting against this Gore Herd. So now we're gonna...
Gore Herd took 2 wounds in return.
Okay, and they didn't have to take a Battle Shock test because of the Inspiring Presence general there. So now we're going to roll off for a new turn.
2
and 3. So I'm going to go first this turn. So we'll come back at the end of the turn. We decided because phases just go so fast that there wouldn't be too much to show. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so this is the bottom of turn 3. We're going to be rolling for 4. As you can see, the Beastmen have gotten thinned out a little bit. The Dwarf Lord finished up the Chariot, and then he was within 3 inches of this Gore Herd, so he got to go over there. He killed 4, and then they didn't do any wounds back to him, and 3 of them fled.
Died from battle check.
Yep. And then the on my turn, the cannon got a lucky shot off, 2 hits, and did 10 wounds onto the Giant. So in our past games, this is the most wounds that have been done to him yet.
And he's at 11 because he did 1 wound previously to him.
Okay. And then out of 12.
Left.
And then over here, we lost 1 dwarf in John's phase, and then on my turn, we killed
1 Beastman. They passed their battle check.
And his hero's just chilling in the back. So we'll come back after the next turn.
Roll for initiative.
4. Oh, 2. And 2. So John will get to pick who goes first.
I'm gonna go first.
And he's going first. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so we got top of 5 here. We're going to be rolling for a new turn. Basically what happened, the giant charged into the Longbeards, and along with the Brayherd, this was on John's turn, ended up killing the remaining Longbeards. So then on my turn, the cannon shot and killed the giant, and the Dwarf Lord charged in and only killed one of the Goreherd.
Yep.
I think I said Brayherd last turn, but Goreherd.
I think their keyword now is Brayherd.
Okay. And they had Inspiring Presence, so they didn't have to take their test. So now we're going to roll for this turn. So you roll the 5, I roll the 4. So John's going to go first. Okay. See you in a bit. Okay, so this is top of 6. On his turn, his hero ran in and sliced the Dwarf Lord in half after his Goreherd had retreated out of combat up the hill here. And then on my turn, the cannon shot, obliterated the 3 Gores, and now we are going to be rolling for the next turn.
Damn it.
John rolls a 1, and
Yes.
I rolled a 1.
4.
And I rolled a 6.
Damn it.
So I'm going first.
Damn it.
I'm just going to keep recording because this may be last turn. So no hero phase. The cannon's going to fire 2 shots at the hero there. Hits on 4s, 2 hits, and then wounds on 2s.
2 wounds.
2 wounds that are at -2 each.
So he's got a 4 armor save, so 6s.
Okay.
He's gonna.
Both go through, and then
Yeah, he's done.
9 wounds.
Okay.
So after this game, the dwarves are victorious with just their cannon and engineer left.
Engineer's a hero, right?
Yes. Yeah, so if he had gotten up there, he would have just slaughtered him.
No, it's if I kill the hero, I can start using a command ability. Any hero within 16 inches I target, I roll 2 dice. If it's higher than your bravery, you take 1 mortal wound.
Oh, wow.
Because I hold up the dude's head. Son of a bitch.
That's good. So what do we think?
For competitive tournaments or the campaign that we're looking to start at our game store, gotta restrict monsters.
Yeah, because that was...
The giant just is too much to deal with.
And with the first... I killed him turn 4, I think, right? This was out of 6?
Yeah, this was top of 6.
So for the first 3 turns, I really whiffed with the cannon. And then when it actually hit and I got the lucky 10 damage is when it took its toll. But that was after he killed basically 2 units.
Yeah, and I mean, you could deal with him if you drop the engineer for a cannon, but then from a campaign / low grow league, do you really want to buy and build 2 cannons just to kill a monster?
Right.
Wouldn't you rather buy a monster? Like, I mean, dwarves don't have access to a monster, but they're orders, so you could take.
And then it would cost you 2 war scrolls if you were doing it war scroll by war scroll.
Right, but I mean, that's why you drop the engineer
Yeah.
and you take another cannon. But still, I don't feel like forcing a person to take 2 cannons to kill a monster on the first month of a campaign is a reasonable thing to do,
Right.
in my opinion. But,
So we're gonna keep
so
play testing, maybe try and come up with some way to
let's
find
do
some form of balance,
battle
but-
box. Battalions? Whatever.
Battalions?
Dwarf battalion versus the Beastman battalion.
Do you want to do the name battalions or just the
I meant like the actual like box.
box? Okay, that sounds
And
good.
see what that game is like.
Okay, so we're gonna record that next, and then stay tuned for that video. Okay, see you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, guys, so we are back with our next game we're doing today, and we decided we're gonna do battalion box versus battalion box. So for the dwarves, that's either a cannon or organ gun. I'm gonna bring the organ gun because I've been trying the cannon in our previous games. 16 Thunderers, and then 24 Dwarf Warriors. And for the Beastmen, it's...
It's a unit of 20 Gore, unit of 10 Ungore with spears, and a unit of 10 Vestigores. That's it.
Okay.
And then everybody has Banner of Musician, but since that's free, fuck it.
Right. Now, because one of the things that the internet's been doing for the last few days is they're calculating points out for war scrolls based on the number of wounds a model has, plus its number of attacks it gets, and then times its bravery.
Yep. That's Mini War Great Gaming's algorithm. I've seen other ones, but the amount of math that's involved trying to keep this as an intro level escalation league. You want to keep it as simple as possible. And theirs is cheaper than all of the other ones that I've seen. Like we just did the math. In the other one that I saw, Agor is 12 points. In their system, he's 8 points.
Right.
So it's a little bit cheaper in their system, but it's also only adding 3 numbers together as opposed to adding attacks, wounds, movement, plus abilities, and then divide bravery added in there. And it's just...
Yeah. And for what they came up with was for war machines and monsters, after you get that total, you double it.
Yeah.
So doing it that way, I'm at 640 points and you're at
460.
460. So we'll see how it goes.
And then on a per wound model basis, you're up 7 wounds, right? I think you said.
Yes.
So
from the war machine,
right,
yeah.
So we can see whether or not we can make a wound basis work, or if the points is actually the way to go with it.
Right, because as everyone's been saying, one Skaven clan rat does not equal
anything else.
Really, yeah, anything else.
So, I mean, like, if you're fighting a Phoenix Guard, even against a Dwarf Warrior, 1-to-1 ratio doesn't work for wounds. So you can't do just War Scrolls, because what's stopping me from taking the Gosh, Glockkin, and 4 units of Hex Race?
Right, besides being an asshole.
Right, but there's nothing stopping me from that. And then going to wounds, what's preventing me from taking a Giant or a Gorgon or something of equal damage output and high wounds? And since the game is based on how many models you kill to achieve victory,
right?
Putting all of your eggs in one basket actually works in your favor. So. And
the other thing we're going to do too is we both have multiple armies more than just dwarves and beastmen, so we're gonna probably
we'll switch up. After
yeah,
this game.
we'll switch up and we'll record that.
We can also see what fielding a dick list would be.
Right.
Bringing Glockkin and a Bloodthirster and
ridiculously crazy stuff, and then
see what happens. Because again, the wound by wound basis, if I bring Glockkin and a Bloodthirster and you bring 38 wounds, you should be able to kill me.
Right, according to the War Scrolls, yeah.
Right. On a War Scroll theory. So.
Right. So for this, we're just going to play on a 4x4, and we're just going to do the basic 12-inch deployment up. And I'll record when we come back to the end of the first turn.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we finished up turn 2. A lot actually happened for... top of 2. We just finished 1. A lot actually happened for turn 1.
And as a reminder, we move base to base because moving model to model is a stupid fucking rule, and you don't want dudes sitting on your base. So
right. So we've just been measuring model to model.
Base to base.
Base to base. That's what I meant. Not model to model. Now in the little 4-page rule book, it says that you can keep units in reserve, but it actually never details what that does for you. We've agreed that, well, it lets you deploy less models, so you can potentially be going first because you're deploying less stuff.
That's what I did. We had the same number of War Scrolls. I held my Raiders in reserve because they have the ability to ambush, so that I set up only 2 units, so I got to go first.
Right.
And then deployed them.
And we deployed them in the back here because under one of the battalion special rules in the back, they get the ability to do that. And since nowhere in the actual rule book, yeah, it doesn't.
That you can do it.
Right.
So we're using the battalion rules to let the Ungor reserve, even though it says you can put any model under reserve. So
right.
I don't know how that works. We might have to figure something out.
Yeah, house rule that. So in the first turn, my Thunders turned around and killed 3 of the Ungors. And then 1 fled from battle shock. The organ gun jammed because I didn't roll higher than a 3 out for trying to shoot 3 guns. Yeah, I should have just shot 2 cannons because it's 2d6 shots you get. And then over here, the Dwarf Warriors actually made the charge in and fought. I killed 1 of yours, and you killed 4 of mine, and then none of my guys fled. So this combat will be ongoing. So we're gonna roll for turn 2. John rolled a 2, I rolled a 3, so I'm gonna go first. Okay, we'll be back at the end of this turn. Okay, so now we are on turn 3, basically recap of turn 2. His guys charged up here and killed 5 of the Thunderers. And then I attacked back and I only killed 2. The War Machine took 1 wound, none of the crew was killed. And then over here, the Dwarf Warriors slowly are taking out this unit. And there's 5, they're what, Ungors?
Gores.
5 cores left. Okay, the human ones.
Yeah.
And there's the dwarves, so we're gonna roll off for
Turn 3.
turn 3. Okay, 6, and John rolled a 2, so I am gonna go first. We'll come back to you after this turn.
You want to go second?
Okay, so we just did my turn, and so over here, the organ gun and the shooting of the Thunders, because you can shoot in combat, finished off this entire unit. And then over here in the combat, we didn't roll, but I would have been going first. They would have been able to pile in and wrap around the 5 guys, and ultimately would have killed them. So,
Well, they would have rounded you, right?
well, yeah. Well, that's right. From the battle shock, they would have. So we determined that with doing the points that Mini Wargaming has set, I wouldn't have had the organ gun, and the game would have been much closer, I think.
Yeah.
Because
you're up over 200 points.
right, 200 points, and but then it would have been different number of war scrolls, too.
That's true. Or you could have broken a unit into 2.
Well, yeah, that's a good
You
point.
had 2 units of 13
Because
Thunderers.
we just did it, you know, the breakdown that it says on the actual GW box battalions.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, we'll continue to record battle reports and see what everyone thinks. Okay. Thanks. Bye.